Geography 2, Regions and Globalization. Geographers divide the world into regions in many ways. Regions change. Regions interact and exchange resources. Regions are perceived through the lens of culture. Globalization, the increasing interconnectedness of the world, impacts regions. A region is an area with shared characteristics but not necessarily a clear boundary. Types of regions include formal, functional, and perceptual regions. Formal regions are defined by a government or other organization. Examples include cities, states, nations, and continents. We could also add counties, parishes, boroughs. Functional regions are connected by shared economic ties. Examples include metropolitan areas, regions around cities that depend on the economies of those cities. Another example would be the area served by a specific utility company, like an electric company or a water utility. Perceptual regions, also known as vernacular regions, they are regions commonly perceived. Perceptual regions are often not well defined, and individuals may have different ideas on the places included in perceptual regions. Examples include the South. What is the South? Is Texas South? Is Arizona South? What do you mean by the South? The Wiregrass. Where does that begin? Where does it end? Or the Midwest. Physical characteristics. Physical characteristics that define regions include landforms, climates, bodies of water, resources. Regions may be defined by landforms, such as hills, mountains, and land altered by water. Examples include the Rocky Mountain States, the Appalachian region, and the Mississippi Delta. Climates. Climates define regions. Climate regions include tropical, subtropical, desert, taiga, tundra, and rainforest. Bodies of water. Bodies of water define regions. Examples include the Gulf Coast, that area around the Gulf of Mexico, the Great Lakes region, and the Mississippi Valley. Regions may be defined by resources. Examples include coal mining country, the Black Belt of rich soil in Alabama, and the oil patch. Human characteristics. The people of a region may define the area by their shared characteristics and organizations. Examples include language, religion, culture, economy, and government. Language may define a region. Language families, such as Romance languages, those languages descended from Latin, the language of the Roman Empire, may define a set of nations as a linguistic region. Accents within a language may distinguish one area, such as the South, apart from other areas. Religion. Religions may distinguish one region from another. The Bible Belt is a perceptual region in the United States known for having many evangelical Christians. It runs through the southeast. The nation of Israel is distinctively Jewish. Many nations identify as Islamic nations, and there's a region in Asia that is largely Islamic, and there are Islamic nations outside of Asia. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines culture as the beliefs, customs, arts, etc. of a particular society, group, place, or time. Culture is the way of life of a group of people. A region may be defined by a culture or mix of cultures common to the area. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines economy as the process or system by which goods and services are produced, sold, and bought in a country or region. Economic activities, such as cotton farming or high-tech manufacturing, may define a region. For example, Silicon Valley is the region around San Francisco, California, known for computer-related industries. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines government as the group of people who control and make decisions for a country, state, etc., or a particular system used for controlling a country, state, etc. Governments claim borders. These borders may be accepted or disputed by neighboring governments. When two governments claim the same area, the resulting conflict may result in war, in the case of nations, or lawsuits between states and a federal system, such as the United States. So maybe Alabama and Georgia have a different opinion about where the state border is. They sue each other in federal court, and the federal courts decide where the border is. Regions change. The Rust Belt region of the northern United States was once a thriving industrial area. Today, formerly prosperous factories rust away and the towns they supported struggle to survive. Detroit, Michigan is an example of a Rust Belt city. Land use changes with economy and technology. Land tends to be put to the highest value use possible. Land in Manhattan, some of the most expensive in the world, will be used for high-rise buildings to get the greatest value in rents. Advances in steel production made high-rise buildings possible. Land in rural Dale County will be used for farming or timber production as it is worth less money. Mechanized, chemical-based farming further reduced demand for land as fewer people were needed on farms, and therefore there was less housing needed in farming areas. Urban growth and decline, in terms of population, refers to the life cycle of cities. For example, Detroit, Michigan grew as manufacturing jobs in the automotive industry attracted workers from rural areas and other cities. Foreign competition and the movement of automobile production to the southern states, as well as advances in robotics, caused a dramatic decrease in factory jobs in Detroit. Today, some abandoned urban lots are being returned to small-scale farming. Populations change in terms of quantity and characteristics. Changes in the number of people living in an area are subject to push and pull factors. Push factors are those that push people away from an area. Factory closures, natural disasters, drought, famine, and war are all push factors. Pull factors attract people to an area. These include job creation, pleasant climate, peace, and political stability. Natural disasters such as hurricanes and earthquakes may change regions. Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans. Some neighborhoods have never been rebuilt. Coastal erosion, the loss of land to the sea, resulting from the hurricane left less land between the city and the sea. Therefore, future hurricanes may be even more damaging. Some regions are defined by trade. The Silk Road refers to the ancient trade route that carried silk from China to the Near East and on to Europe. Trade may determine the location and growth of port cities on oceans and rivers. Regional interaction. Regions interact. Regions exchange resources. Information is exchanged between regions via the internet. Regions exchange commodities. Commodities are things of value, such as silk, spices, or petroleum, that is, crude oil. China exchanged silk with Europe as early as the Roman Empire. Southeast Alabama sells peanuts and poultry to other regions. The internet speeds the exchange of information, goods, and services between regions. Today, anyone with an internet connection may instantly post information for others, read what others write, buy items online, or hire someone to assist them with tasks online. Regions are perceived by different people in different ways. Regions are often perceived through the things that make them different. Culture, understood in terms of the ideas, behaviors, and material things common to a group of people, is one way to define a region. Even though Holland has modern cities, it is identified with tulips and windmills because the prevalence of each makes the region different from other regions. Language is an aspect of culture that defines regions. People may refer to the Anglophone world or Francophone world when speaking of the regions dominated by English or French speakers. Languages change over time. Latin, the language of the Roman Empire, once defined the region around the Mediterranean Sea, England, and part of Northern Europe. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, regions within the former empire developed their own dialects of Latin. Today, these are called the Romance languages. Romance as in Roman. The Romance languages include Spanish, French, Romanian, Italian, Portuguese, and some smaller languages such as Sardinian. Religion may define regions. Some nations have official religion supported by the government. Religious regions often overlap. Religious regions may divide as religions schism or expand as missionaries and migrants spread faiths. Ethnicity. Ethnic is defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary as of or relating to large groups of people classed according to common racial, national, tribal, religious, linguistic, or cultural origin or background. Ethnicities are often associated with regions and nations. For example, Southerners are of the ethnicity associated with the Southern United States. We tend to drink sweet tea, and many of us listen to country music, though certainly not everyone. Iconography and symbology. Regions may be perceived through images and symbols. Flags represent nations and states. Buildings, such as the Taj Mahal or the Kremlin, may be symbols of a nation or region. Globalization. Globalization refers to the increasing interconnectedness of the world. Globalization has been underway for over a century, As the telegraph and rail travel began a trend accelerated by new technologies. New technologies that promote globalization include telephones, satellites, the internet, shipping containers, and 3D printing. Globalization has changed the quality of life for millions. Industry sometimes moved to find lower cost labor. Jobs lost in one region hurt people there, but helped the people hired in the new factory, in the new region. Industries may bring additional pollution to new regions. The challenges of globalization may be addressed through international cooperation. Treaties, such as trade agreements, may mitigate or reduce some of the negative effects of globalization. Nations may agree to limit pollution or prohibit practices that destroy industries in other nations. In conclusion, regions are important to our understanding of geography. Regions may be formally defined or informally perceived. Both physical and human characteristics are used to define regions.